So you know that moment when you're extremely tired, you're just getting into bed, but you can't fall asleep because your brain won't shut off? You start thinking about everything that's happened that day or that week, as well as everything that's coming up in the future. Well, imagine yourself doing that when all of a sudden your heartbeat starts to speed up. It gets harder to breathe, and sheer terror overcomes your mind and body. 30 seconds ago, you were fine, but now you're freaking out. You can't even stop crying. How are you ever going to fall asleep? Can you picture it? What's happening? What I just described was a very understated description of the first time I had a panic attack. At the time, I didn't know what was happening, and it made the experience that much more scary. So what I want to do is explain to you what a panic attack is and what some of the symptoms are so that if you ever start to have one, you have somewhat of an idea of what's going on. According to the American Psychological Association on their website, apa.org, about 1 out of every 75 people experience it at least once in their lifetime. So what is a panic attack? Well, because I didn't have quite the understanding of what it was, I decided to go to some of my friends and get their opinions. One of them said it happens when somebody has no coping skills. Another one said it happens when you feel like you've lost all control. When the stress of life builds up so much, it gets so hard to handle, and you panic. You can't control yourself anymore. Well, according to the staff at the Mayo Clinic, which is a medical center based out of Minnesota, they define it as a sudden episode of intense fear that causes severe physical reactions for no apparent cause or reason. Now let me repeat that. It is a sudden episode of intense fear that causes severe physical reactions for no apparent cause or reason. Now, if I were to come up to you and say, Herbert is experiencing signs of a panic attack, what would you picture? I can tell you what I picture, and that's the way they do it in the movies. You know, when someone starts to freak out, grabs a brown paper bag, opens it up, and starts to breathe into it. I'll give you an example. And then it's fine and it goes away. Well, according to Janine Siegel, who has a PhD, on the website helpguide.org, some of the symptoms include hyperventilation, which is when you grab the brown paper bag, and believe it or not, it really did just help me calm down a little bit. It also, one of the other symptoms is trembling, much like I'm doing right now. And the feeling of getting sick, and one of the psychological symptoms is fear. Fear of losing control, going crazy, and the worst, the fear of dying. Now, when I say you fear that you're going to die, it sounds like an exaggeration. It's a little dramatic. But I can promise you that it is not. I remember the second time I had a panic attack, I was in my car getting ready to go to work. I don't remember what I was thinking to trigger the panic attack, but all of a sudden I was frightened. And it's not the kind of frighten you get when you go to a haunted house. It's the kind that keeps you from being able to move. You're frozen, and it kind of feels like you're stuck in, I don't know, the scariest thing picture the scariest thing that you've ever experienced. You're just stuck there. I remember being so frightened and crying, begging for the feeling to go away. Just begging, because I didn't think I would make it through it. I thought I was literally going to be scared to death. Panic attacks are scary. It is something that should not be taken lightly. But when you know what it is, or what some of the symptoms are, and that being scared of dying, having a hard time breathing, or trembling is somewhat normal, it will help you, or at least it helps me, get through it a little bit easier.